let's go ahead and get into this discussion about Stranger Things. So as with any cultural phenomena out there, Stranger Things has reached that point. And you know what that point is. That point is it has the backlash now. People they love to pull those pants down, bend over, and just shit all over Stranger Things. But you also have those people, those fans, that fan base where they will stick with it, ride or die. They will defend it no matter what. No matter what kind of glaring flaws that it may have, they are there and they will fight you on it. In fact, these two fight each other, especially now that the finale's here. Now that the finale's here, both groups, they've dug those heels in strong and nobody's budging.
By terrible people.
Kind of sounds like the fans out there. No, listen, y'all. As I said, we have the diehards and the haters that are out there. And listen, y'all, I've been both those people in the past on certain things. So I understand how it is to be caught in those extremes. I know how it is to come in and just want to argue with somebody because you want to convince them of your opinion. You want somebody to hate something as much as you do because you're better. Or you love something so much, you're going to beat somebody's ass. They talk about the thing that you like. Thing that you love so much. What are you, stupid? You don't get it. I'll beat you. You know how it is, y'all. You hardly see people, including myself at times. I'm not saying I'm perfect these days either, but you'll hardly see people criticize something, but respect the people that also enjoy it and try to understand why they enjoy it. And that's why I'm here, because I'm a fair man, and I think that I can come in and give you a level-headed point of view and discussion about them Stranger Things right here. And I'm going to tell you, man, I understand the love for this. I understand the diehards for this show. I mean, this show's been around a long ass time. 9 years. So if you were 9 years old when this show came out, you're damn near an adult right now. Of course you're going to cry. Of course you're going to have a hard time criticizing it. I get it, man. I say to those people, regardless of what I feel about this show right here, let them enjoy it. Listen, we all grew up on things that we have fun memories of that were not exactly perfect. I grew up watching a show about a closeted gay bodybuilding prince who fought a flamboyant gay skeleton man. So who am I to sit up here and criticize somebody's love for certain things? I watch commercials that sell me these toys right here. So I get it, man. I get it. At the same time, it's also okay to respectfully point out the flaws of something, to criticize something without making somebody feel bad, without losing respect for someone, and having no expectations of trying to change anybody's mind. That's where we all go wrong. We want people to think like us. We want to be like that hive mind out there. We want to make everybody think like we do. And I think that is something that I want to come in here and I want to approach this without having that. I want to have this discussion and tell you what I thought that they did right with this finale right here. And also I want to tell you what I thought was flawed. And I have no hesitations about that, but I don't want to harp on those things. I don't want you to think I'm coming in criticizing this because I just want to hate on this show. Because after watching the finale, I'll be honest with you, there were some things that I enjoyed way more than I thought I would coming into it. And I really want to praise the show for doing those things right. At the same time, might be possible, I don't know, maybe, that I think this finale is far from perfect. Now, in order for me to have this discussion with you, there are going to be some spoilers, lots of spoilers. So if you haven't watched this yet, or if you just don't give a shit, then, stay or go ahead and take off. I have no hard feelings about those people who can't watch anymore because you haven't seen anything yet. However, if you want to stay, then I'd be more than happy to sit down and have this discussion with you. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get into why I think that this show succeeded in certain ways. I want to start off positive. I don't want to come in here with any kind of negatives. I don't want to come in here pulling the show down or talking about the show and criticizing it right off the bat. I want to come in and talk about things that I thought that they did very well. And something that I thought was not only done very well, but I thought was extremely smart to do. A lot of shows should take an example of this as how to do a finale when you're wrapping up a whole series. So I thought one of the things that they did that was amazing, the thing that they did that was very smart, was that they centered on the characters. And we were talking about these characters 18 months later. And that part of the show, it was about the last 30 minutes. It was long. They did that last part where they were just centering on the characters. If you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. We were doing a follow-up on how everybody is doing 18 months later in Hawkins after they've destroyed the Upside Down. Vecna was defeated. They defeated the Mind Flayer. We'll get all that stuff in a little bit. But it was long. However, I enjoyed that more than probably anything I had seen this season. And the reason why is because it went back to what made this show great in the first place. The interactions between these characters who felt like real humans this time. It felt genuine. It felt like they were people I could relate to again before things got way too big. Before we got into too many characters, too much story, the big budgets that brought in the big special effects that, if you ask me, overwhelmed the characters later on. And all that forced, phony nostalgia talk. It was cute at first. It was fine. And then later on, it started to get a little bit annoying because it started to get pretty obvious that they were just forcing those things in there. And no, those bullshit confessionals that they had between all the action in the show, those don't count, man. All those things felt out of place. Now, in my opinion, I thought that they kind of ruined the pacing of the show. They didn't seem genuine. Here, now that the story is finished, now that all the spectacle is gone, we're winding down, pulling back, and we're getting these quiet moments with these characters and giving them a moment to be human. For example, that moment on top of the radio station roof with all the older kids, Steve and Robin, and all of those guys. You see them right here.
There actually is something that I miss about this place. Miss this? Just hanging out.
That's almost, she's speaking what I feel about this. I miss this. I miss them just hanging out. Now, I know you can't make a whole show where they were hanging out, but they did have moments where they felt like friends. They felt like real people, even when they were fighting with each other, even when you had bullies picking on people or people enemies, that still felt real.
I mean, I really like my new friends.
It's not the same.
I don't think it ever will be.
Okay, Jesus.
Man, call me a sucker for crying. Call me a sucker for emotional moments like that, but if you really make those moments feel as if they're happening between real characters, between real friends, I'll buy into it. I'll be moved by that. Manipulate me. Manipulate my ass. I don't care, man. Because the emotion felt genuine right here. And I think this being a finale makes that stronger, because I believe that these actors, they were really crying. I believe that they knew that they were moving on. And after spending 9 years is a long time to spend with people. They became a family. And they knew that there was a chance that they don't know when they'll see each other. They're not going to be spending this much time together. They're breaking up. And I think that genuinely was emotional for the actors. And those emotions came across, not in acting. I think it came from a real place. Especially with the kids. Because, yeah, they were older when they got on the show. But man, these kids grew up together. And, I'm talking about Mike and Will and Lucas and Dustin. They were so young when they started out. And they grew up together. And those moments, I think, for them were probably even more moving than it was for the older kids or any adult on the show. Although I'm sure they all felt something.
The storyteller keeps telling stories. One day,
He hopes their tales of grand adventure will spread far and wide across the land. There is a story that he can never tell.
And we'll get into that in a little bit. I really like the relationship, how they wrapped up things with Lucas and Max. I ain't saying that because Lucas got a white girl. I'm saying I actually felt that was, again, very moving. Maybe they're not together in real life, but there's Max and there's Lucas. You saw them making out at the end of the show, and I think they, again, when they were in scenes together, they felt like our time is up now. We're moving on. And that's very bittersweet for these kids here. I think those tears came from a real place. And it's hard not to be moved by that. At least it was hard for me not to be moved by that. And I think it was smart for the Duffer Brothers to take advantage of that. And I thought they just directed those scenes very well. There were moments where I was questioning their ability to direct this show as it went on, as things got bigger. And that's what makes me come back and double down on, I like these smaller moments, because the bigger scenes, I think, just got out of control. And I think it was just hard to manage. And I think that these quieter, smaller moments shows that these directors, the Duffer Brothers, are actually really good directors when it comes to directing characters and people. Also, I got moved because they all graduated in 1998. And that's the same year I graduated. So I was able to connect and relate to it that way. But there are people in the show that I haven't mentioned yet that I liked the whole time. And I liked their conclusion in the finale. David Harbour. I know David Harbour is doing some weird shit today in real life, but as Sheriff Hopper, David Harbour has always been good on this show. Even when it's been in seasons that I've considered to be weak, David Harbour has always been good, man. He's always been great. And I really enjoyed what they did. Oh, yeah, it was whatever. Call it corny, call it sappy. I'm a sucker for that. I'm corny, I'm sappy. But I really enjoyed the proposal with him and Joyce. It had been a long time coming. I thought it was done very sweet. It felt real. And that scene I really liked a lot. But there was another scene with David Harbour as Hopper, and it was between him and Mike. And I thought that scene was done so well. And that's a scene where Mike is missing 11, and he doesn't want to go to his graduation, and he's missing. And everybody's freaking out because if a kid goes missing in this town, everybody's like, oh, fuck, what a damn demon or demigorgon or spider ate a kid or something. But he found him, and he went and he had this nice heart-to-heart talk with him.
Find a way to accept her choice. You just accept it. You live the best goddamn life you can. I've been down that first road before. I don't recommend it.
I love that. I love those speeches where it says, suck it up, move on. That's that Charlie Brown speech. Hey, did you notice something? Did you notice something, Mike? Sure, that girl might have died, but the world didn't come to an end. I mean, it almost did, but it didn't. So get your ass up and go graduate. Really love that scene. Again, Duffer Brothers, I think they're great at directing people, but I don't think they're very good sometimes in directing people in big special effects scenes, because those special effects are distracting. They're not being people anymore. They're just running from an effect. Another person that when I was talking about some of the episodes before, and even when I was being very critical of episodes this season, I failed to mention one character here, or one actor that I thought did an amazing job. And that is old Vecna himself, when he ain't got all that Swamp Thing makeup on his ass. Jamie Campbell. Jamie Campbell he's great. And I thought he was great all season, even when I thought that the show or certain episodes might not have been all that good. I thought he was great. Also, I love how they didn't cop out with 11. We've been talking about, and I've heard a lot of people talk about, when I say we, I'm talking about myself on previous episodes, or talking about previous episodes. I'm talking about some of the people online talking about this. And I agree with a lot of people that the stakes didn't seem very high because they didn't want to kill some main characters. So I just thought that, I guess 11 is going to marry Mike and they're going to move on somewhere and live happily ever after. But I like what they did with 11. I don't think they copped out with 11. And I like how they handled that scene. Now, I know they can write her back if they want to. They can do anything. But here, we're left with more proof that she dead. We're left with more proof that she's gone. She sacrificed herself. And I like how the kids, they want to tell themselves that maybe she survived. But if you look closely, and maybe it's just me, I think the Duffer Brothers meant for even those kids to kind of know that that's probably bullshit. More than likely she died. But I also like the way he handled them thinking that.
I'd like to imagine that she's
dead as fuck.
in a beautiful land somewhere far away.
If you notice, she went to the place with 3 waterfalls. I think they were talking about that. And they know that this is made up. They know it's bullshit. I like somebody said 11 will return in Doomsday. I don't know what they plan on doing with spinoffs. I don't know what they plan on doing with this franchise later on down the line. I hear that they're going to be doing something that picks up after this, or a prequel even. So I don't know what they're doing with this. But right now, at this moment, I'm glad that this is only a fantasy with these kids, that they're just speculating, that they just want to believe that she's alive. And that's okay to think of somebody in a positive way like that. Because you could call it naive, or you could call it them hoping on nothing. But at the same time, it seems like a way to honor her. If she's not alive, her memory's alive. And it's just a way to honor her, to think that she went off to a better place. Which I don't know where that place is, but it's good to sit back and think that somebody's better in a better place, because we want to keep them alive in our hearts and our minds. That's corny as hell, I know, but I still like the way that scene played out that way. And as I said, I really liked all the character stuff. I thought it was very smart to end the show this way. And why was it smart to end the show that way? Because it left you feeling so moved, so emotional. It left you feeling somewhat good, even if it was bittersweet, that you forget about the flaws right before all that other stuff. You forget all about the things that they did that you could probably go in and criticize, like I am about to do, before we got there. This is where negative Korey is about to come in. And listen, I'm not going to be that negative. These are flaws that I see. Now, other people out there, if you enjoyed the show and those things didn't bother you, I have no problem with that. I thought the show ended well enough on an emotional note. We can all walk away happy if we want to. No need for us to argue with each other. But I saw some heavy flaws. And God help me, I'm not going to try to go in and nitpick on those things. But I did see some flaws. See, what they did was, with all this feel-good stuff that they were doing before, all this stuff with the characters getting together and reminiscing, and at this point they showed you montages with the characters. The characters are talking about things that they did. They get back together and play D&D. Man, all that stuff is a cheat. First of all, they're playing on your nostalgia. Second of all, they're leaving you feeling good, so you're not talking about the bad stuff. If you're feeling good, you're going to talk mostly about, watch, everybody's talking about how the end is making them cry. Everybody's talking about how the end of this show was so moving. Oh, man, I saw this in the theater and we were all crying together. People are going to be talking about that. If this show had ended any other way, if it ended with some of the flaws that I'm going to be talking about, people will probably be talking about that more. But they knew what they were doing here. So for me, if anything, I enjoyed the last 30 minutes of this so much that unlike other people who are only talking about the emotional ending, for me, it reminded me of why I stopped caring about the main story that we had going on before. And again, like I said, that's just me. Other people, they loved it, and that's fine. I'm not even saying that in an ironic way. I think that that's cool. But with this, the rest of everything that's going on, all the stuff that happened in this finale before, because it was 2 hours. So the first hour and a half, again, not to come in and be too negative, but I just thought a lot of anticlimactic things happened during that part. Starting with the old mind flare. Everybody was talking about the mind flare. Oh, mind flare. Now that's the real big bad motherfucker right here. That the mind flare. That's the big real baddie that we got going on. And you had all these theories going on about it. And as the show was winding up, I'm like, I don't know why y'all got all these theories, because if you see anything, it's going to happen in the last episode. It's not like the mind flare is going to have some big buildup. When we get to the mind flare is just going to do what it does in that last episode. I don't know what we can really do that has a big, heavy impact or any kind of big story significance. And I say this because, listen, I thought the mind flare looked cool. I liked it as a special effects. Even though the spider design, that's kind of a hack thing to do. People are always doing spider designs for stuff. I think even at the end of it was a big-ass spider. But when they got right down to it, when they started fighting the mind flare, it was just a big boss battle at the end of a video game. I don't want to get too nerdy with people. If you know the game Elden Ring, it felt like a big boss battle like that. It was 5 minutes of a video game boss battle that happened with a creature that is twice the size of Godzilla. And how do you bring down a creature that's twice the size of Godzilla? They defeated it with a flamethrower, a flare gun, some bottled Molotov cocktails, and a slingshot. Okay, and a shotgun. That's pretty badass. It looked great. I'm not going to lie. For a TV show, you got to understand where I come from. When I was a kid, I never thought I'd see something like this in a TV show. So this is when you knew that this show was successful, because Netflix just threw money at it and said, do whatever the hell you want to do. And they came in with the big guns for the special effects right there. But as I said, looks great. But outside of a boss battle in a video game, what real story impact did it have? The mind flare didn't really have, regardless of all the theories and everything that we have. I mean, it was built up, and that's what we got right there. That was it. As I said, some other people, they might be able to school me on me missing something here. Maybe I don't know really the true significance of what happened here. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe people just liked it. It was good enough for them. To me, it felt lacking. And another thing. So all this time, the mind flare has been sending out these damn demigorgons and demon dogs and other creatures, and where were they now? Were they taking a break, or were they just getting tired of getting their ass whooped? They say, fuck them kids. I'm not messing with them anymore. They beat us several times. Where were they? Taking a smoke break? Because I know what some people are going to say. Well, I think they were something about them being chased out the upside down or something. But they're from Dimension X, right? And which is where I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying to make sense out of this. I don't want to say anything because maybe I'm missing something here. But it just felt like they should have had the demigod. They were conveniently gone when they had to defeat this creature right here. To me, it's just that maybe I'm missing a detail, but it just feels like that's an oversight. And there's been a lot of details that they've overlooked in this season. Here's another one. So again, explain to me if I'm missing something. But Dr. K, played by Linda Hamilton. So Dr. K, she appeared in the show out of nowhere, and then she played this main villain. And then after they defeated the Upside Down and everything, she was gone. She was gone. She was not around anymore. She didn't have, if she was that big of a villain, I mean, because she's only about 5 feet or something, but she was slamming soldiers around, getting in their faces, threatening people. She's supposed to be played up as being a formidable foe, and she was just gone. I don't know if she just said, fuck it, I'm getting the hell out of here because she saw that the kids were kicking ass. She knew she was going to lose. But that character added nothing to the story, really. I think all the military didn't add anything to the story. I think all the military, eventually the military just became filler enemies. So when you didn't have our main characters fighting monsters, they needed something else as an adversary, and I think that's where the military came in, and they were only there because also we're not going to kill any of the main characters. We've seen that became very obvious as things went on. All right, all these characters that we know and love, they ain't going anywhere. It's going to be all right. None of them are going to get touched. They might get a scratch or something. Might go into a coma, but none of them are going to get killed. So these creatures, these demigorgons and other creatures, they needed something to kill. Again, that's why you had the soldiers there. Look at that. The kids are getting the hell out of there because we can't hurt them. And speaking of inconsistencies and overlooking details, boy, those demigorgons, they can take a shotgun to the head and keep on coming. A woman pulls out a wine bottle and cracks that shit across his skull. They're like, oh, Jesus Christ. So there's a lot of stuff that I thought they weren't really paying attention to. And I thought others noticed immediately. I noticed that immediately. Speaking of not killing off your main characters, that felt like a cop-out. To not kill one main character. We're saving the world, y'all. And not one of our main characters is going to go. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if the Duffer Brothers saw their characters as too precious, but not one character sacrificed to make this big mission, this huge task of saving the world. Somebody that we love from this show should have gone, and that would have made the emotional impact even more. And no, I hear you right now. No, Callie doesn't count. That's too easy. Her ass was barely in the show. I mean, one episode before, now she's just popping up the last minute when the show's about to end. Really, how much emotional attachment can we have to somebody like that? That don't count. I'm sure Callie got her fans out there. I'm sure there's some members of the Callie fan club that miss her very much. But nah, I'm not buying that. I thought, hey, too bad. That was sad. Hate to see it go. No attachment, though. I mean, that's her name, right, Callie? Because people are like, who? I don't know if y'all saying who, because like y'all are like me. She wasn't in it that long. But yeah, good actress. Very good actress. And thought she gave a good performance while she was there, but not long enough for me to give a shit. Yeah, that's Callie. Thank you. California loves. You didn't get none of that here. California. And this is going to be very controversial for some people out there. Let me find the picture here. Give me a second, y'all. This is where y'all, if you weren't mad at me before, you weren't hating me before, it might start now. But let me find your boy here. This is the one that's going to get everybody. I don't think Vecna is that great of a villain. He looks cool. Like I say, he looks like a cross between Skeletor and Swamp Thing, but I don't think that Vecna is that strong of a villain. If you think about it, he kept losing to 11. He couldn't kill any of these kids. He's got a lot of power, but he kept getting his ass whooped. And when it came down to it, his ass got shoved into a big tooth. And then Joyce, of all people, Joyce is the one that picked up that axe and came in and chopped his head off.
I didn't run away.
Badass scene, by the way. I still say that this show, it delivers when it really wants to go hard. I love that Netflix is putting this show in here that feels like a Spielberg show. Even with these kids being older, it feels like a Spielberg movie or show or movie. But then they're not afraid to do gore, especially as the show went along. They were popping eyeballs and cracking limbs, and blood was everywhere. There was one scene where some spike shot through the floor and went through a soldier's head. We see people melting. So I respect them on that end for going that hard. But this time,
I just want this to be over.
that's actually a cool scene. I like the scene. I've always liked the effects. I've always liked the creature designs. I've always liked the environments. I've liked a lot of things, but as far as the impact of that, it just makes me think, all right, Vecna, I mean, you came in, and yeah, you did some shit. You did something, but yeah, you ain't shit either. Really come when it comes down to it. I don't think, the reason why I say this, he was threatening, and he had power, and he actually offered a challenge, but he didn't really have any defeats. He didn't really have anything that made me say that, oh shit, this dude, these kids are not gonna be able to take him on. I never really felt that way. And I love that everybody's talking about Joyce and, oh man, but it was cool because she took him out with an axe. Remember, she had an axe back in season 1. Okay. She had an axe in season 1. There was no lead up with that axe. They all act like that axe was another main character. Joyce was just not given a whole lot to do. It was cool that she was able to chop off the head of Vecna, but she wasn't given anything to do until that moment. I don't feel like there was any kind of lead up to that. So I'm not going to say it was disappointing. It made it for a cool scene, but it just didn't leave, for me, for myself, didn't leave a heavy impact. And I think that's the one that's going to get to people. Look, I could go on and on and on. I don't want to nitpick, though. There are certain things I was talking about with the editor, James. Vecna tells these kids that, he picks a certain day for when he's going to actually bring them in, and they're all going to get to the hive mind mode. And what was the significance of that day? The mind flayer didn't seem to care about that before. I don't know. I can go in and talk about some things, but I'm not going to say anything. Those are small things that I think you could live with, and every show has little details that you could nitpick on, and you could go in and point out, and even if you have a point, you could, if the story's strong enough, it doesn't matter. So I'm not going to nitpick here, but I'm going to tell you something, man. These criticisms that I have for the show, I just want to make it clear that I think these criticisms combined with the ones that I had in the last 3 episodes, for me, it didn't make for that strong of an ending. Or it didn't make for that, it didn't make for that strong of a show. Now, I love the ending. For me, it did not make for that strong of a show as a whole. I love that it took us back to earlier days, the feeling of earlier days with these characters. But watching these last 3 episodes, watching this whole last season, really, and having a show that ended strong, but for me was heavily flawed before that. That last 30 minutes was nice. It was a nice moment. It was a great moment, but it was not a great lead up or a great epic lead up to the ending. So I think that the series was still somewhat of a disappointment for me, that they wrapped up too nicely and gave it a nice send-off. But as I said, I was still able to walk away from this feeling good. I would rather you stick your landing and make something that leaves a lasting impression on people on an up note and leave people feeling that, instead of ending on something that, and we've seen this before with Game of Thrones. It did not, this show did not Game of Thrones itself. It didn't do that where you walked away just perplexed as in, how did you fuck that up? Nah. I might have checked out of all the upside down stuff in that bigger story. I still enjoy watching it just for the look of it. I enjoyed the effects, but as far as having any attachment to that part, that was gone a while back. But going back to the real strength of this, which are these characters, even if copped out on some parts of it, I still enjoyed that very much. And I'm actually happy that I'm able to walk away feeling a positive about this than a negative. And I don't know if I want to see any kind of spinoff of this. I don't know if I want to see them force this to keep going, because I'm in that camp of people that believes that they did not have an ending figured out for this. I think that they had something and they started strong with that idea, and it just kept going on a little bit too long. So I don't know if I'm eager to see this continue in some other form, but I'm kind of cool with the way we left things here. So I don't know, man. If I had to rate this, maybe a high rental is what I give it. It would be a positive rental. Nothing that I'm too enthusiastic for, but still enjoyed what I saw. Don't know if I wanted to spend that much time with it, but now that it's done, you left me on a good note. So there you go. I hope the discussion was cool with you. If I missed anything, if I have any details wrong, I know you let me know, but let me know. And also let me know what you think about it. I know a lot of people are they're very divisive about this at this point. But let me know what you think. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Let me see what people are talking about in here. Oh. That's another thing. Yeah. Robin's girlfriend. What happened to her? She just disappeared. They made a whole big deal about her getting together with her, and all of a sudden she didn't get a wrap up. So that's things like that. Things like that makes me say that things were piled on so high that some, I think, semi-important details slipped through the cracks. That's just me. Yeah, no mention of Max's mom. I know that Max wasn't surprised when she came back. I think when she went to a coma, everybody thought Hopper had died. She wasn't like, hey, what the hell? Where'd you come from? I thought you were dead. Nothing like that. All right, y'all. Let me see what people are talking about in the chat right here. Oh, yeah, Murray just gone. Yeah, we know Murray's alive. Murray's good. He's just gone. Oh, that's right. They put the Prince songs in there. I love Prince, and they're making a big deal about Prince never had those songs used in any movies, which is not right. Because in here they played songs from Purple Rain. And that's a classic album. Purple Rain is a flawless album for me. Purple Rain is an album that if I put it on, I'm listening to the whole thing. I'm not going anywhere. If I got an appointment, cancel it. But they played When Doves Cry and what else did they play? Oh, Purple Rain. What I'm talking about. So they played those two songs. Somebody said they've never played those songs in movies before. Well, they played in Purple Rain, the movie. I thought it was all right. I would rather see Prince's music used in something else besides Stranger Things, at least the parts that used it in here. But if they use it effectively, I guess so. I always look at it and saying, oh my God, this does not fit. But I wasn't going like, oh shit, they use Purple Rain, it's amazing right here. There's people putting stuff in here, their own opinions about the finale. Yeah, it was not effective as Running Up That Hill or Master of Puppets. No. The way they use Master of Puppets, when your boy, what's his name? When he started playing, all those bats attacked his ass. Oh, what's the Eddie? That was, now you talk about epic. Let me see, Eddie, Death, Stranger Things. Oh, you want to talk about epic? When they played, when he did Master of Puppets and those bats started coming down, that was incredible. Plus, I love Eddie. I thought Eddie's one of my probably top 5 characters on Stranger Things. I love him. I keep saying this, he looks just like Robert Downey Jr. Does he not? No? You know what I'm saying? Let me see. And when they, of course, Kate Bush, when they kept playing that, effective, but I thought that they played that too much. Kate Bush. Let me see it. Kate Bush coming up that hill. What? Great song. You know who loves that song? Big Boy from Outkast. He did a whole video about how he thinks that song is one of his favorite songs in the world. But they played that song way too much, man. Way too much. It got played out. Again, if you ask me. So yeah, Prince, his music wasn't used as effective as those. Kind of an afterthought, if you ask me. Skip it about Boto. I think that's it, y'all. I think that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the discussion. I enjoyed being here with you guys. Thank you for coming in, hanging out. Great having you here. Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.